So here's kind of an overview of the evolution of these rings. If I can get my camera to focus. I started on my 3D printer doing prototypes in plastic, and I was fairly happy with the results. So I went ahead and ordered some cheap steel prints from Shapeways that I was pretty happy with. I've since moved on to casting them in 100% silver from Shapeways, and I'm loving the end result. So these are going to be my final rings. I do have these for sale if you're interested up on my Shapeways account. You can probably just search for my name, Jarvis, at shapeways.com and find them. So these are the silver versions, and I'm extremely happy with the way they came out. I did force tarnish them with sulfur from a hard-boiled egg. And the tritium vials, I have quite a few of them, are going to be mounted in with this nifty stuff. It's a Norland NOA61 adhesive. It is only cured by a specific wavelength of black light. So I did pick up a black light to cure them. It is kind of viscous stuff, so I'll be using this little needle that they included in the kit to put the adhesive inside the rings themselves. But I've got a number of these tritium vials. I'll show you the end result and some of the mounting process. Alright, so I'm just about to start the mounting process, and one of the things I would recommend if you're doing this on your own is a nice pair of tweezers. To get in this box with my meaty little fingers is a little challenging. Get yourself a pair of tweezers and save yourself some headache. First thing you want to do is make sure that when you get your ring, that the vial fits in the little hole provided. See, my meaty little fingers don't want to pick that up, so here's where those tweezers come into play. Handle this very gently. It is just a very thin piece of a hollow glass with a gas inside of it. But you do want to test fit your vial, make sure it goes all the way in, it doesn't hang up on anything, preferably comes out the other side. I've tried to make these holes as close as I can to the vial themselves without causing too much friction. So here is my curing rig. I've set up some double stick adhesive that I just had laying around underneath my UV light source, which gives my rings a fair bit of clearance underneath so that they can cure. Cure time is anywhere from a minute to 30 seconds. If needed, you can use a little file to enlarge that hole just a little bit. More important on some of these smaller diameters, they do have a tendency to be slightly different in size depending on the metal that they're cast in. Silver seems to be, anything that's lost wax cast seems to be slightly bigger. The steel is actually printed with a steel powder, and so that's sometimes a little snug, but you can use a little file to get those perfect. Do not apply much pressure to these little vials. They will break on you, especially if you apply any pressure to the end of these. These will pop on you once the gas escapes. They are no good. So I'm just about ready to start installing this vial into this ring. We got it all cleaned up. I alcohol swabbed the inside just to get rid of any oils or anything that had collected on the interior. And then I've also cleaned the tritium vial as well. The Norland will stay liquid as long as it's not exposed to UV light. It is pretty hard to work with. In the kit they do include a little needle tip with the needle cut off, which helps get into little cracks and valleys a little bit easier. One thing to note, the tip of this will not fit onto the tip of this, so what I tend to do is just put a couple of drops in here of the Norland and then just kind of use my finger as a plunger to squeeze it out the end in 1 or 2 drop increments to get the right level that I need. So I'll just kind of hold it like this and gently squeeze out a drop or 2 as needed. Cleanup of this stuff is pretty easy too. It will not cure unless under a black light. It'll stay kind of a viscous liquid, and you can clean it up really easily with just some isopropyl alcohol. It'll rub right off. So the first thing I like to do is just put a little bit of a drop down there at the bottom so I can seat the tritium vial. And I might put another one on the opposite side too. There is a little recess built into the bottom of this particular ring for the tritium vial itself. And again, these are a bugger to pick up with your fingers. If you purchase the proper length, it should be designed to just have a slight recess on either side. This again is to protect this glass from breakage. You'll want to fill that up with your UV resin as well, just so nothing can get in there and break this open. Okay, so this particular ring I'm going to do in stages. I filled up the edges where you insert the vial itself, and then just on the interior corners here I've put a couple of drops that have dripped down to the interior. Make sure to wipe off any excess and then go ahead and put it under your blacklight. Kick it on. And you notice that the fluorescent light also activates the tritium vial. It does have a little bit of a fluorescent coating on the interior to make the gas a little bit brighter. So I'll leave this for a few minutes and we'll see what we get. In the meantime, while my shield ring is curing, I'm going to be inserting the vials into my hydra ring. These are going to be red vials. Of course you want to do a test fit first, so I'll check these holes for proper fit. And then go from there. What I've done is I've mounted my ring on a little piece of double-sided sticky tape that I had floating around. This makes it much easier to insert the vials. And then my plan is to just move my light source to this location. Alright, so I'm doing this one in stages as well. The mounting it to the board with the adhesive tape worked out great. I did find that my vials on one side of the ring would not fit through, but on the other they fit just fine. So I didn't do any filing on this particular ring. With the UV light, you can actually see the color. It's being activated. The phosphorescent in the vial itself is being activated by the UV. This is similar to what you would see the ring display in pitch black with the naked eye. One of the only ways to get this to pick up by a camera. It's really hard to show you how cool these rings are with the camera itself. Here's my project as it stands. All the blue plastic are my initial tests on my 3D printer. From there I moved to stainless steel from shapeways.com. They actually made those using a steel powder printer. I was very happy with the end result on those, so I had them cast in Lost Wax casting some silver versions, and I've got silver versions of the rest of these on the way. I'm just starting with these two to make sure that I'm happy with the end result, and so far I have been. These are the vials waiting to be installed in some of the other rings. These three will go into the lantern ring. These two are blue. They'll go into the Asgard ring. These four are purple. They'll go into the Vision ring. This was yellow, meant for this ring, but I ordered it a little short, so I don't know what I'm going to do with that. I'll find something fun to do with that. This is a replacement vial for a ring you don't see here. I made for a friend. It takes 2 vials, and I broke one of the vials by pushing on the end there with something hard. It just popped wide open. So don't do that on your own vials. Let's take a look at the end result. I want to try and show you the glow of the vials. It's hard to do that with a normal camera. The human eye picks it up a lot better than it shows up on film. So let me turn the lights down and I'll energize these vials with a little bit of UV light to give you an idea of what you'll see if you do order these rings and what they're going to look like. So we'll flip out the lights. See a little bit of a glow. I've just got a background light on. Let's energize these and I can kind of show you what the naked eye will see. Yeah, so this is much closer to what you would see in close to a pitch black environment.